This is KVUE News Nightbeat.
So for me, this issue is very personal. It's an attack on me, on my family, on my community.
A debate that's personal for some in the legislature over the so-called Sanctuary Cities bill. We're tracking the vote in the House tonight. The search continues for a missing Austin police officer. And a one-of-a-kind experience being built in downtown Austin.
So members, if we're not patting you on the back today, and we don't want to be very friendly, I think you know why. Because this feels like a dark day in the House.
Moments ago, House members approved a controversial amendment to the bill that puts an end to so-called sanctuary cities. It allows all local peace officers in the state to ask about the immigration status of anyone who's been detained. Previously, the bill would have officers ask the status only after a subject was under arrest. The amendment passed 81 to 64. And while the full bill is expected to pass along party lines, a strong show of opponents are making their voices heard at the Capitol tonight. KVUE's Michael Perchik was there and joins us live from the Capitol with more. Michael?
KVUE protesters said that their presence wasn't just about tonight, it was about making it clear to lawmakers that they're ready to fight moving forward. Chants echoing throughout the Capitol. Protesters taking turns at the mic, speaking, singing, chanting. Their opposition to Senate Bill 4. The legislation would mandate local law enforcement to comply with all ICE detainer requests, essentially banning so-called sanctuary cities. Supporters say it's about enforcing laws, but opponents like high schooler Sylvia Zuvieta Rodriguez believe it oversteps its boundaries.
I understand the fear the immigrant community has. I grew up fearing my parents' deportation.
She says that fear became reality when her father was deported 5 years ago.
It's important for me to fight for the families that are on that line. They feel that fear.
The rally making its way upstairs from Rotunda to right outside the House gallery, protesters making sure their voice is being heard. Neil Hernandez is part of UT LULAC, a group that represents the Hispanic community. He said even if passed, they'll keep making their voice heard.
It's not just a legal fight, it's a spiritual fight, and it's going to take our whole community, everybody of all backgrounds to unite and to overcome this hateful legislation.
He took specific issue with the campus provision, which he feels will make undocumented students uncomfortable. Austin City Councilmember Greg Casar spoke at this evening's rally. He told me he feels this bill targets and scapegoats the immigrant community for the sake of political expediency, all while jeopardizing everyone. Now, Governor Greg Abbott has been an outspoken supporter of Senate Bill 4, tweeting, quote, "Releasing dangerous criminal aliens back on the street after ICE detainer is requested is irresponsible." Live from the Capitol, I'm Michael Perchik, KVUE News Nightbeat.
Thank you, Michael, and we'll be tracking the bill's progress into the night. Tune into KVUE News Daybreak starting at 4:30 for the latest once that vote is complete. Now let's turn to the Nightbeat's Jason Puckett, who's tracking the search for a missing Austin police officer. Jason, what's the latest?
Well, Quita, we still don't know the name of the officer, but we know that officials near the Texas-Mexico border are still searching for him after his car was found this morning at Lake Amistad. Now, that's in Valverde County. The lake literally runs along the U.S.-Mexico border. Austin police were first told the officer was in emotional distress yesterday. That's when family and fellow officers realized they couldn't find him anywhere. A statewide alert was put out on his vehicle leading to its discovery at the border this morning. And I did have a chance to speak with the Valverde County Sheriff's Department just a short bit ago. They are handling the search at the border and say that tonight they're still in the same situation. They have the officer's car, but very little else. For now, here in the newsroom, I'm Jason Puckett, KVUE News Nightbeat.
Thank you, Jason. And an update on a story that horrified parents across Central Texas. The State Dental Board has closed its investigation into the death of 14-month-old Daisy Lynn Torres. She passed away during a procedure that included root canals and cavity fillings at Austin Children's Dentistry last year. We're told the dentist involved in her case, Dr. Michael Melanson, will not be punished. That's according to his attorney. He says the State Dental Board found no findings of fault against Dr. Melanson. Johnson. And just to note, the dental board itself would not confirm this development. They say their investigations are all confidential. The board did not address the anesthesiologist who was involved in this procedure. Travis County prosecutors are presenting a confrontation between a middle school student and an Austin ISD police officer to a grand jury for possible prosecution. The incident happened last fall and was caught on camera. It involves an 8th grader at Bedichek Middle School and a former AISD officer, Christopher Penaloza. The student was reportedly removed from class by school staff. Officer Penaloza was called to the scene. The two had a confrontation which ended with both of them falling to the floor. AISD Police Chief Eric Mendez is the one who flagged the case for prosecutors. Officer Penaloza is no longer with AISD Police. He'd already given his notice at the time of this incident.
Windy and hot this afternoon. We made it back into the low 90s here in Central Texas, but take a look at South Texas. As hot as 104 this afternoon at Brownsville, 99 at Corpus Christi. Several spots along and east of the interstate in the low 90s here in Central Texas. Temperatures now cooling with this nice northerly wind into the 60s this evening, headed into the 50s by morning. A little cooler tomorrow afternoon, but we're back up to 90 by Friday. The big story over the next couple of days, thunderstorm chances for part of the weekend, some of which Saturday night could be on the strong side. Much more on that just a few minutes away.
We'll check in with you in a bit. Thanks, Albert. And in case you missed it, here's a quick takeaway from President Donald Trump's plan for tax reform. For corporations, the cut would be tremendous, from a 35% tax rate down to 15%. For individuals, President Trump wants to reduce the number of tax brackets from 7 to 3. 10, 25, and 35%. The plan also calls for doubling the standard deduction. For a married couple, that means no taxes on the first $24,000 of your earnings. In return, most itemized deductions would be eliminated. The estate tax and the alternative minimum tax would be repealed. The White House says it's moving as quickly as possible with the goal of getting all of this done this year. But there are concerns about what this plan would do to the deficit. It's called lunch shaming, and lawmakers in the Lone Star State are trying to stop it. A bill going through the legislature tomorrow requires all school districts to give students with unpaid lunch accounts a 2-week grace period complete with hot meals. But we wanted to know how your child's school district handles the issue right now. The Nightbeat's Tina Shively has been digging into this issue all day, and she joins us now with a breakdown.
That's right, Quita. I reached out to 9 area school districts, and none who responded say they take food away from a child who cannot pay in front of his or her peers, a practice, as you mentioned, known as lunch shaming. All say that once a student's balance reaches 0, they do have a grace period of differing lengths. After that grace period, an alternative meal is offered. Now, some districts, like Del Valle, continue to offer hot lunch. Others offer a cheese sandwich or a peanut butter and jelly or a salad, as they do in Austin. Now, in some districts, the age of the student determines exactly how their case is handled. In Pflugerville, once their account is empty, secondary students can get $6 in lunch credit, elementary students $5. In San Marcos, letters are sent home to elementary parents after that grace period. Secondary students are warned of their negative balance on the lunch line. Now, in addition to the steps taken at the state legislature, the federal government is also aiming to end the lunch shaming procedure, a USDA policy that requires all districts to write down their policies and distribute them to parents goes into effect on July 1st. And you can read the policies from the districts that responded to us in full on our website, KVUE.com.
Good information to know. Thank you, Tina. A North Texas teacher says he saw lunch shaming happen right in front of him. A cafeteria worker said a 4-year-old girl had no money on her card.
She reached down, picked up her tray, took the milk off the tray, dumped the food, and sent the child away crying. And my jaw dropped. It felt like I'd gotten kicked in the gut.
It turns out at least 4 of the largest school districts in North Texas have a practice of shaming students who can't pay. And still ahead, construction downtown will yield a new experience to eat and play in Austin. And a big gator wrestled out of a Texas pool.
Combination of a ton of sunshine this afternoon, a dry west-northwest wind, putting highs in the low 90s, 9 to 10 degrees above average. Get this, a 40-degree cool down from highs today to where temperatures will be by sunrise. We'll talk about that coming up next.
We brought you a sneak peek on Monday, but as of today, you can now officially shop at the first 365 store in our area in Cedar Park. This new Whole Foods 365 store will still have local and national brands, but 40% of the stock is the 365 store brand compared to the 10% at the regular Whole Foods market. It's located at the Park Shopping Center off 183. And something new is coming to Austin that has a lot of people both celebrating and scratching their heads. It's happening now in the heart of downtown, and that's where the Nightbeat's Chris Betts joins us live to explain. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Quita, good to be back. You know, behind these blue walls is a project breaking new ground here in Austin. It'll open up in just a few short months, and it will be open to everyone. But today we wanted to find out what you can expect when these blue walls come down. These are the sounds we're more than used to here in Austin. And this is something made famous by Austin. But behind these walls, you won't find a new high-rise or a food truck. Instead, you'll soon find a food hall.
Food hall? No, I can honestly say I haven't heard of food hall.
Doesn't mean anything to me.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Food hall. I would think of it like a food court where there's several food establishments.
Bingo. Welcome to the future site of Fairground ATX at the corner of Congress and Cesar Chavez. It's part park, part marketplace. This food hall will feature some of the city's top culinary talent. Imagine a park-like oasis with tacos made only using local ingredients, a cheese shop, German-inspired food, pastries, sushi, and ramen, all under one roof.
It's basically an acre of parkland in the middle of Austin.
Scott Henschel is one of the founders of Elm Restaurant Group in charge of Fairground ATX. This space used to be a courtyard below ground level.
There's all sorts of amphitheater possibilities. We'll have a stage downstairs.
And on a corner surrounded by offices, hotels, and condos, it's a pedestrian-friendly, first-of-its-kind development in Austin, already garnering a lot of buzz.
I'm looking forward to all the new eats that we're going to have.
Oh, I think that'd be awesome.
Now, this is a really busy area downtown, so of course the big question, where can I park if I want to come here? Well, the parking will be free in the garage at this building after 5 on weekdays and free all weekend, so that's really cool. And it'll be opening up this September, so go ahead and check that out. Reporting live in downtown Austin, Chris Betts, KVUE News, Nightbeat.
Thanks, Chris. Well, a homeowner had to avoid taking a dip in the pool today. An alligator decided this backyard was a good place to hang out for a while. This is in Richmond near Houston. Animal control wrestled the gator out of the water and struggled a little bit to get it off the property, but eventually succeeded. Thank goodness. That is not what I want in my backyard. And you know what? Today was actually pretty nice. A little bit windy, a little bit humid, but it looks like things are going to be changing, especially on the weekend, Albert.
Yeah, humidity levels on the decrease tonight thanks to a front that moved through the area earlier this afternoon. So compared to 24 hours ago when we had dew points running in the 70s, we got dew points now running in the 30s and 40s. So much drier air mass moving in. And that's one of the reasons why we'll start off on the cool side tomorrow morning. Much, much cooler than the last several mornings. We'll be at 53 degrees right at sunrise. But a quick warm-up, though, this dry air mass and full sunshine will get us into the low 70s by midday, and we'll top out not nearly as hot as we were today and even yesterday. Will be about 84 degrees at 5 o'clock. Here's the frontal system that moved through earlier today. That cooler, drier air mass moving into the state of Texas. Severe weather tonight beginning to move into Mississippi, where severe thunderstorm watches are in effect, but very stable, dry air mass over all of the states, so the rain chances are over. By tomorrow morning, we've got temperatures in most locations in the low 50s, maybe even an upper 40 or 2 in portions of Williamson County and Llano County. And then here's this big rapid rise in temperatures, a little bit more of a south south wind breezy, low to at times mid-80s expected for tomorrow afternoon. A new moon tonight, clear skies and 53 degrees. It'll be breezy in the overnight out of the north, but by tomorrow afternoon, more of a south wind. It's going to take some time for that moisture to go up, but we'll notice the moisture as we head towards Thursday night into Friday morning. So this is a very short-lived, slight cool down and dry air mass because the humidity will be right back with us as we head towards Friday into Saturday. Temperatures for highs tomorrow under sunshine between about 83 and 84 degrees here in the metro, maybe a couple of degrees cooler out west. Fredericksburg and Blanco at 82, about 83 to 84 from Bastrop to Lee County into Fayette County. Pecan and grass in the low count for tomorrow. Molds in the medium count. Your allergy forecast from the KVUE Storm Team found every day in the Statesman. Great shot here for our weather snapshot, courtesy of Roberto White. This is a golden-cheeked warbler. Nature weather photos, send them my way. Snapshot at KVUE.com. Front quite hasn't made its way into deep South Texas. As we mentioned towards the first part of the broadcast, Brownsville at 104 this afternoon. They're sitting at 80 and some slightly cooler air for them by tomorrow morning. 55 in Dallas. Take a look at the 47 degrees in Amarillo. So nice day tomorrow, although breezy. 50s in the morning, mid-80s in the afternoon, and then it's hotter and it's breezy on Friday. We're back up to 90 degrees on Friday afternoon. Humidity will start to rush back in starting tomorrow night. That's going to allow for a couple of showers throughout the day on Saturday. No big deal if you have some plans Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, but Saturday night, a couple of those thunderstorms could be on the strong side, especially if you live northeast of Austin and then behind a new frontal system. Cooler, 73 clearing skies on Sunday. Upper 70s to near 80 by Monday. We'll keep an eye on the weekend forecast in the days to come, but at this point, I think the best chance of thunderstorms come late Saturday evening into Saturday overnight.
Well, the forecast has a little bit of something for everybody this
week. It's like a buffet of weather for you tonight.
I was going to say warm, cold, hot,
up and
whatever
down.
You want.
Exactly.
Thanks, Albert. Okay. Now, Texas family builds a mini store for their son after the original one in town closes. And this happy little pug, oh how cute, can get around again thanks to some Central Texas students. Let's take a live look right now at I-35 North, where traffic is at a standstill after an auto pedestrian accident tonight. It happened in the 800 block of southbound North I-35. Two inside lanes are shut down. A woman is being taken to the hospital with critical injuries. As you can see, traffic practically at a standstill in that area. We'll keep you updated, but you'll want to avoid the area right now. Some Whole Food shoppers in Colorado getting an added surprise in the parking lot. The store noticed a mother goose had laid some eggs, waiting for them to hatch. So the store decided to protect her until they do, putting up a little barricade, even putting a kiddie pool by her so the chicks can cool off after they hatch.
It takes 25 days for the eggs to hatch, so we have a date of May 5th that we're looking to have some new babies in the parking lot.
The store has coordinated with police and animal control to move the family to a nearby lake when the time is right. And Polly the pug can finally walk thanks to a group of 7th graders at Barton Middle School. Back in January, a project was presented to teacher Chris Glenn involving the construction of a rear wheelchair for Polly. Without hesitation, Glenn and 7th graders Ella Davis and Chris Janisek jumped on board. The team put in an hour a week to build that wheelchair, and today, Polly finally tested out the product. She was able to walk without wobbling or falling down. Awesome job.
Look at you,
Good for Polly. I know she's happy to be moving around. And those
We're Polly's biggest fans, aren't we?
We are. We love Polly. Everybody loves Polly.
Yes.
Now, I know everybody may or may not love Vince Young.
I think everyone does right now because they want him to make a comeback.
That's right.
And he's getting there. Vince Young starts work at a brand new job. Meanwhile, the joys of Cooperstown come to Round Rock when KVUE returns. Vince Young about to turn 34 years old, coming up on a dozen years since he won that national title at the Rose Bowl. But he has not given up on his dream to keep playing football. Vince Young is trying out for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, the Canadian Football League. They have a mini camp right now in Florida this week, and VY glad to be back in the game.
I'm just happy to be here again, hanging out with the guys, laughing with the guys. A lot of guys giving a lot of respect, and the DBs are talking noise. We're going to pick you out, VY, so we're having a good time, Mario. I love that, and I did miss that, always competing. And that's one thing that I love about the football, a game of sports. You can always go out and compete.
If you are a baseball fan, I highly recommend a trip to Cooperstown to see the Baseball Hall of Fame. I've been lucky enough to go a couple of times, but it's in the middle of nowhere, upstate New York. So to give you an easier taste, the Round Rock Express have been hosting a Cooperstown exhibit for the last week at the Dell Diamond. KVUE Stacy Sladen has the story.
Cooperstown, New York, home of Major League Baseball's Hall of Fame, and a lengthy 1,791-mile stretch from Austin, Texas. But that trip just got a lot easier.
For Austin, I think that some of the coolest features are our Nolan Ryan cap from his 5th no-hitter.
The country's largest traveling museum has made a pit stop in Round Rock, allowing you, the fan, to take a trip back in time.
This is the bat from the shot heard around the world from the 51 World Series, walk-off home run. This is Yogi Berra's mitt from Don Larson's perfect game.
But Ranger fans, beware. Not all mementos bring good memories.
This is really unpopular with Rangers fans that we've encountered here. This is the David Freese jersey from the 2011 World Series from his walk-off home run.
Yet, here's something all Austinites can be proud of.
The Austin Blackhawks are the most winning beat baseball team in the country. They have 9 World Series championships.
But for all baseball of the past, there's futuristic features as well.
Make sure it fits comfortably. This is our virtual reality experience that takes you through last year's postseason when the Cubs win it all.
So whether you like baseball, history, or you're on the tech-savvy side, the Cooperstown exhibit has something for the whole family. Stacy Sladen, KVUE Sports Nightbeat.
Let's talk a little basketball. The Rockets are ready. Now they just need the Spurs to do their part tomorrow night in Memphis. One more San Antonio win, we're going to get a matchup of Spurs versus Rockets in the Western Conference semifinals. San Antonio, by the way, would have home court advantage. ET women's golf team got to celebrate their Big 12 title in front of the tower tonight, and the men will join in the fun. The UT men made a comeback today to win the Big 12 golf title for themselves. Time for a highlight of the night. This one is so good we may show it every night this week. Chris Coughlin of the Blue Jays is going to try to score from first base, but when the catcher gets in the way off of this triple, watch what happens with Coughlin. It's going to be time to fly. One of the greatest runs ever scored. He lands on home plate. He's safe. We'll be right back.
Well, finally tonight, a heartwarming story from Mission, Texas, right by McAllen. A Twitter user says his autistic brother was sad their local Blockbuster was closing down, so his parents built him a mini one at their home. And it's filled with some great classics. That's a great idea, and hopefully, you know, they'll waive the late fees. I thought all the Blockbusters were already gone, but apparently not in Mission. I'm just saying.
Got to go to Mission.
Got to go to Mission.
Blast from the past. I love it. Don't forget to rewind before you return, guys. All right?
Be kind. Rewind.
Young folks are going to rewind.
Blockbuster, what?
Showing your age.
Thanks for watching.